Alright, with the winter coming in the way they're saying, and we actually got a little bit of snow here where I'm at last night. Not much. It didn't. I mean, the kids got a 2-hour delay, but it didn't amount to anything. So, but I thought I'd do a like a vehicle recovery kit, just see what I could get for not a whole hell of a lot of money. And this is basically what I came up with. So I went to Harbor Freight today, and I got a bunch of stuff, but a lot of it doesn't matter for this. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's all nonsense. All right, so most vehicles, so you have a gross vehicle weight on typically on the inside of your driver's side door, and it's a GVWR. That's like how much you can have the vehicle plus the occupants and what the vehicle can hold and yada yada yada. So that's kind of what you want to go off of. And in my case, a 2012 Toyota Tacoma is like 5,200. Now, granted, doesn't include anything like your towing or whatever. So, but most of the time, you know, you could always detach a trailer or whatever. But some vehicles, like my neighbor's Audi, it got stuck 2 years ago. We got about 15 inches in one storm, and those vehicles are just not built for that. It says all-wheel. It is all-wheel drives, you know, but and a lot of people see that as being like a blank check, like I can go anywhere, I can do anything, and that's just simply not the case with those vehicles. And all-wheel drive is not four-wheel drive. Typically, all-wheel drive vehicles are exceptionally inferior to four-wheel drive. Not always, but most of the time. But in their case, their Audi weighs like 6,300 pounds, 6,200 pounds. It's a heavy, heavy vehicle. It's, you know, German, yada yada. So I'm gonna do a little kit for them because they didn't have anything. So if I wouldn't have been home, they might have been kind of screwed. Now, granted, they could have got a tow truck in there eventually, but this way, if they're out and about, they at least have some method. If somebody pulls over and says, "Hey, I can pull you out of the ditch," then they've got something to work with. So I went to Harbor Freight and also went on Amazon. So I want to start with the carabiners. And carabiners are definitely not created equal. There is a rating on here. This one, and I'll pull it up. Let's see here. I'll see if I can get it on here. So, where's it at? So, oh, there we go. So 45 right there, and then the two little arrows. That's 45 kilonewtons on this point and this point, and then you've got 16 kilonewtons on the gate. And this is a rotating locking, spring-loaded locking gate. So it's 225 pounds per kilonewton, I think, something like that. So that means, what's that, about was it 10,200 pounds or something? Or is my math completely off? So 225 times 45. Oh, 10-1, that's pretty close. So 10,000 pounds, and then I just say 10% off of that. So let's say 9,000 pounds, and that's just pulling. That's not yanking. That's not getting a running start. That's pulling it tight slowly. So this is just a 6-foot tree strap. That's your anchor's here, so your stuck vehicle's here, and this is what's pulling you out. Doing this, pulling it tight, and then going. Not bow, and then, you know, that's you've got a lot more weight and inertia involved with that. So these tree straps, Harbor Freight used to have these really nice little tree straps for cheap, and I wish I would have bought more when they had them. Now they've just got it's probably the same dang strap, just a different color, but they call it's under their off-road recovery Badland name, like their winches and stuff. And they're probably fine, but an 8-foot, this is a 6-foot, so an 8-foot strap was $30, which is kind of stupid. So I would look on like Amazon or something like that for one of these. The way that these work is these are rated to about 6,400 pounds if you do that. So the loop is rated to 6,400, and then if you double them up, they're rated to about 10, I believe. It used to say on here, but this one's kind of old. But you know, when you do it like this, so your tree's going to be here or whatever, and then this is going to be on your vehicle, or however you're going to pull it out. That would be if you're winching out or using a come along or something. But now they do have the kinetic ropes, which are better, but I think they're kind of dangerous. You kind of got to know what you're doing. Whereas this is just really straightforward. You just pull it tight, slowly, and then you're working. So this recovery strap is rated. The braking strength is 27,000, and then the working load limit is 9K. So you typically take your vehicle and multiply it by 1.5, and that's where you need to be. So that will be just fine for that heavy vehicle. And it's a 30-foot strap, so it's a 3-inch 30-foot strap. And then basically you just take your beater and put it in there. You're real careful cutting this open. And so the strap was about $25, I think, and the carabiners were 15 a piece, 14 a piece. So just pull these out of here, and we'll just snap these bainers in here. That way they're all together. And then typically you can put it in a bag is the best way to do it, to keep all this crap together. It doesn't take up a lot of room, but I mean, when you're stuck in the snow somewhere, you know, an extra $40, and then an extra $40 to get you out, you know. And then if you really want to go stupid, you can get something like a Max Track. These are knockoffs, but they work pretty well. They're about $120 a set off Amazon. Traction boards, Max Tracks, whatever. These have only been used once, and they work pretty good. I didn't use them; somebody else used them. But as far as like a little kit to put in your car, you know, obviously you want some kind of recovery gear. You need some kind of gloves, and then if you do get stuck, something to eat. Typically a few bottles of water that are tucked away wherever the spare tire is. Theoretically, that's where you want to put this too. And then know where to hook it up. That's the big thing. Is it's great having this stuff, but if you don't know where to hook it in, because a lot of vehicles don't have anything anymore, like that Audi, it's got this stupid little screw thing in, and that's the way the European vehicles are anymore. So there's not a great recovery point on a lot of vehicles. And then most people don't know, even if they do have them, they don't know where they're at. So it's a good idea to know exactly where all those recovery points are. But you need, you know, having something to get down on, like a yoga mat. You can lay that flat in the back, especially if you got an SUV. You can put it down underneath the floor, what do you call them, the floor mats, and just put the floor mats on top of them. You can do a whole host of things, but having something to where you're not absolutely soaking wet is nice. It's not necessary, but it's nice. And then if you are end up just up the creek, is having some water, snacks, a small first aid kit. I like keeping them in Nalgene's. And then a little bit of 550 cord. And then I like dim lights. These just happen to be IR, but you obviously don't want IR, but you know, to mark where the vehicle's at, that sort of thing. Flares burn out really quickly, whereas these will, you know, they're not as visible, but they last, you know, 8, 10, 12 hours. And then obviously something to make a fire is extremely, you know, warranted a lot of times, especially in the winter. My buddy Mark likes these, he just likes taking a Ziploc bag and a gob of petroleum jelly and cotton balls, and it works great. It's super, super cheap. What else? These little survival blankets, I've never really used one, but this one's one of the better, I think, little more heavy duty, and you know, I'm sure it's better than nothing. Make like a little tarp or something out of it. If you broke a window or something like that, you could use that to put it over top. Then obviously duct tape, Gorilla Tape, T-Rex tape, and a little roll of electrical tape's always a good thing. But yeah, it pays to put these little kits together, and then if you got like I buy a lot of bare tools because I've already got tons of batteries, so those little tool bags that DeWalt, Milwaukee, and stuff comes in, you can put those. You put all this stuff in one of those, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with this. And it does pretty well. You know, if you can find a good spot, little hidey hole underneath where the spare tire is or whatever, that's great too. But you know, having a pair of gloves, something to sit on, you know, a sleeping bag. If you know, a sleeping bag isn't a bad idea. But if you don't want to spend the money on a sleeping bag, moving pads. So the Harbor Freight moving pads are great. They're like $6-7, and they're surprisingly warm. You can go to U-Haul and get the big, just the blankety kind of thing. It's not like a moving blanket, but it kind of is. It looks very recycled, and they're actually really, really warm, and they're cheap, and you can get a whole big thing of them for about $20. And what else? But yeah, that's basically what I got. I mean, the big thing is a little bit of recovery gear and knowing where to use it, knowing how to use it, knowing what the limitations of it are. Granted, you know, you're limited on this thing. You're limited to 30 feet, you know, so if you aren't within 30 feet of something, you're kind of screwed anyways, unless somebody has something they can add to it. But you want to know what your vehicle weighs, and then if you're stuck in a bunch of mud, that mud adds weight. If you're down a hill, the gravity, you know, coming up that hill adds weight. So you got to know those things to make sure that you're not overworking this, because if this breaks, it could kill somebody, you know. And then knowing the anchor that this is anchored to, that's a huge thing, because you're more than likely not going to break that carabiner, but you might break something else, and then that shoots off, you know. I had a hook come off one time and shot straight through a grill of a truck. So, you know, try not to learn the hard way, I guess. But yeah, having something in your vehicle is a big deal, because you might have to rely on yourself, or just you and one other person. Hopefully somebody stops. I mean, you know, I've met up with some real assholes that you know, they just want to have their hand held and stuff like that. But you know, be willing to get a little muddy. Have maybe even a change of pants or an extra jacket. I put the kids' older jackets and gloves and beanies and stuff. That kind of stuff gets disseminated to the vehicles. That way, if we're out or something, if we're out and they don't have anything, or that includes me. I've got like a shirt and extra gloves and stuff. But if we're out or something gets wet or whatever, you need to be able to change those clothes, especially in the cold weather, and then have a little extra food. A couple bottles of water per person is exceedingly nice. But none of this stuff costs a lot of money, and a lot of it you could get at like Goodwill and stuff, or Harbor Freight in this case. But anyway, that's what I got. So basically, as far as just a strap and carabiners, you'd be able to go from vehicle to vehicle, 30 feet plus the length of the carabiner, so say 31 feet, and you know, it costs about $50. It's about $55 is what it's going to run you. I don't know all the receipts in the truck, but yeah, not a whole lot of money, and it might save your skin one day. But that's what I got. Thanks.